And welcome to this special coverage coming your way from Nile TV International regarding the latest developments in the Middle East and the phone calls conducted by Foreign Minister Dr. Badr Abdulati with his counterparts from Qatar and Iran, as well Mohammed bin Abdurrahman Al Thani from Qatar and Abbas Araghchi of Iran, to be shedding more light on the latest developments in the region. I'm honored to be having with me over the phone Dr. Marian Gerges, the political analyst. Dr. Marian, thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International and this special edition.
Thank you. It's my honor.
The honor is all mine. First of all, we have seen another collapse in the negotiations between the US and Iran yesterday in Pakistan. The Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi leaving Pakistan, heading to Oman, and could be heading to Russia as well in the next few hours to be meeting with the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin. And today we have seen a phone call being conducted between the Iranian Foreign Minister and the Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati. How do you see the efforts of Egypt to be de-escalating the situation in the Middle East and to be understanding the latest updates throughout the negotiations?
Yes, of course, I have to praise all the efforts done by the Egyptian administration, President Abdel Fattah Sisi and the Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati. But in the very first beginning, I have to say that we have to reach a sustainable and comprehensive resolution to this long-standing conflict between Iran and the United States, because it's no longer a diplomatic luxury. It's a very strategic necessity for the whole region and for both parties, and of course for the whole world. Maybe for decades, as I always say, this relationship has been defined by cycles of escalation and temporary containment, with each side relying on pressure tactics rather than reaching a real solution, discussing all the matters between them, and especially the distrust between both parties. If trust was present in these negotiations and the talks held in Islamabad, I think we would have been reaching a solution more early than this. And of course, what makes the current moment particularly critical is the growing risk of miscalculation in such a very critical and tense environment, and even a limited incident, whether military, political or economic, could be very spiral, even if something happens in the Gulf region or whatever. I would also suggest a very important point I am thinking about: why Egypt does not hold and does not host these negotiations. All my due respect to Islamabad, but maybe Egypt's efforts and the vision of Egypt could be more participating and would be very important in such critical times.
Yes, and regarding the negotiations that we have seen in Pakistan, in Islamabad, collapsing one time after another, how did you see the latest round of negotiations that could have taken place yesterday? Instead, the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi chose to be leaving Pakistan without meeting the American officials sent from Washington. How do you see this update and development in terms of the negotiations? And do you think that this could be leading to more escalation in terms of the military operations, or we'll be staying at the same place for the next few weeks?
No, I think we are going to the way of escalation, of more escalation, and of course more military deployment of the American military and the naval blockade. I think we have to talk about two different entities in Iran. As I always say, that there's two parties making the decision inside of Iran. If we are talking about the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, we are talking about the part which is the whole extremism, the absolute extremism, while Abbas Araghchi is on the other side of the shore, who is, maybe we can say, he is slightly flexible than the other part of the negotiations. And of course, we have to go back to the recent talks in Islamabad and why it's failing, as I always say to you, because there is no trust between parties, and because there is no addressing to the real problems between the Iranian side and the United States, considering the nuclear ambitions, the nuclear program, the ballistic missiles, and of course we have to reach a deal. I'm not saying saying that they have to clone the deal of 2015 because, of course, the administration of Obama is totally different than the administration of Donald Trump. But I think we have to address the real problems and to address the real relations between both parties, and we have to see maybe by the weekend of this week we have to see recent talks in Islamabad, and I think of course it's a significant diplomatic effort at a very time of heightened regional tension, and maybe this discussion are not taking place in isolation. 2 days ago we have seen the summit in Nicosia in Cyprus,
yes.
And this summit was totally bypassing or trying to bypass what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz and the naval blockade. Let me say to you a very important point, that this is the first time in history that U.S. would deploy 3 aircraft, the G.W. Bush, the Gerald Ford, and the third one. All this military deployment is so high, and it's getting more high over the time.
Yes, Dr. Marian, you've mentioned that the other side of the negotiating table, the Americans, a lot of them have not even traveled from Washington, D.C. to Islamabad to Pakistan to be participating in the negotiations. What does this say about the future of the negotiations? As you mentioned, there could be even an escalation in terms of the military operations from the United States and Israel against Iran in the coming weeks. So where does this leave us in terms of the negotiations? And do you think that the incident that took place for the past 24 hours, the assassination attempt, the attempt to be attacking the American president and other American officials in Washington that took place against the U.S. President Donald Trump, could be changing his mind in terms of more pressure against him, that he needs to be ending the war as soon as possible?
Yes, I think we have to divide your question to 2 parts. The first part regarding the assassination trial of Donald Trump yesterday in the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I think there's no evidence so far that's related to the Iranian war. Maybe it's too early to judge, but I think there is no any ties to the Iranian war, and I don't think it will change much in the upcoming negotiations. But I think this assassination trial will be reflected on the midterm elections. I think it will play in the benefit or in the side of Donald Trump somehow. So there is no confirmed, up till now, there is no confirmed evidence directly that links the reported assassination attempt to Iran conflict or to this war. The second part, which is about Araqji and his visit to Oman, trying to make the picture somehow better for the Gulf regions and trying to build good ties between Iran and, of course, the Arab countries and the countries of the Gulf region specifically. And he is trying, I think he will go to Russia in hours, and he will meet, of course, in Moscow, and we will see Araqji will have meetings in Moscow. And I think this visit of Abbas Araqji underscores the deepening of this deep strategic coordination between Tehran and Moscow in a very critical moment of the regional tensions. And I think the discussion will focus on the security developments and, of course, military aid from Russia to Iran in this time.
Yes, Dr. Marian Gerges, the political analyst, thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International and this special edition. And I'm honored to be having with me over the phone Mr. Sharif Rizq, the political analyst. Mr. Sharif, thank you very much once again for being with us on